What's up, St. Louis? It's your host, Luke Farrell of the STL Bucket List Show. The STL Bucket List Show is driven by Bomarito Automotive Group. Bomarito is Missouri's #1 car dealership with over 20 locations, so I guarantee that there's one in your neighborhood. Since the 1970s, Bomarito has sold over 1 million cars, and John and the entire team made us feel completely comfortable when we picked up our new vehicle recently for the family. So I can't thank the Bomarito team enough for driving this episode forward, and enjoy the show. For 50 years, Bankhead and Firth Orthodontics has been proudly serving the vibrant St. Louis community. As a family-owned and operated practice since day one, the commitment to excellence and personalized care runs deep. They believe in giving back to the wonderful people of St. Louis who have entrusted them with their smiles. Step into the 5 locations across St. Louis with modern offices equipped with the latest orthodontic technology. Their 3 amazing doctors are dedicated to providing top-notch, innovative treatments tailored just for you. Join us in celebrating 50 years with Bankhead and Firth Orthodontics, where your family becomes a part of theirs. Schedule your free consultation today and let them help you achieve the confident, gorgeous smile that you deserve. Because in St. Louis, your smile is your legacy.
If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune in to the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
St. Louis, we're back with another week of the STL Bucket List Show. I am your host, Luke Farrell of STL Bucket List. My wife, Marissa, still out. We're almost to summer break. She's going to be back. I know you guys have been asking us, sending us messages, sending us emails. When is Marissa coming back on the show? She is, but we have a special story before we get into the episode today. So my friends here today were the first people to actually know that we were pregnant, which is crazy. Completely out of chance. We were driving out to the vineyard. We got a flat tire. My mom picked us up, brought us to the vineyard for our photo shoot. But then I had to tell you guys that Marissa couldn't drink wine because she was pregnant, but my mom didn't know yet. So this is the first time my mom's probably hearing this too. She's probably like, dang, I didn't even know that story. So I had to tell them, I had to basically say, don't say anything, just don't give her wine because she never turns down wine. So that would be the first thing. That's the first thing when somebody turns down wine, you're like, oh, they're pregnant. So I have Noboleis Vineyards in the studio today. I have Angie and Christine. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So first I want to start by reading a little bit of something from your website, and then I want you guys to interpret it in your own words and tell us the story. So basically, a love for wine and passion is the history of the area that helped turn the dream of owning a vineyard into a reality. In March 2005, Bob and Luann purchased 84 acres of land in Augusta, Missouri, and began to transform it into the winery that you see today. 4 varieties of grapes were planted and now grace the hills of this estate. And since opening, you guys have expanded to both the vineyards and the business, from growing to over 30 wines in your portfolio to pursuing the wholesale market, which you guys are growing at this moment, and absolutely blooming into canned wine like Swirl and different things that you guys are doing. So I'm excited to see what the future holds. Yes. So that was kind of, I took what you guys wrote and kind of like rewrote it a little bit. But tell me, whoever wants to start, tell me what that means to you.
Well, before we get started, since you shared the story with everyone about Marissa being pregnant, and us being the first ones to know it for anybody else, even the doctor didn't know, we wanted to bring a sparkling bottle for you guys to celebrate your beautiful baby. Wow, we brought you our White Brut, which we have just released, and it is only available in the tasting room. So we are just so excited to be here.
A new release for the new release.
I know, exactly. And this is sweet and a little bit dry. It's the Brut White. Yeah. I'm going to try this tonight. Thank you guys so much.
You guys have a lot to toast these days.
You do.
Yeah,
and that was a fun day when you came out and we had to just kind of play it cool.
Yeah.
We're like, well, nice to meet you and congratulations.
Exactly. It's so funny. I mean, that was, I think May this time last year is what it was. Exactly about a year ago. Yep. So, well, thank you for that. Welcome. We're going to drink that tonight. Probably.
Congratulations.
We've been drinking a lot of wine since baby's came. Thank you. So back to the story. So whichever one you guys want to jump in and kind of tell us what I said there and kind of what that means to you.
I think it's a great summary. I think when you write those things, you really are kind of trying to take everything in of what you're doing and put it into words, which is sometimes challenging because there's obviously a lot of there's a lot to it, even beyond what you read. But for Chris and I, obviously we're sisters, and it was our parents that started Noboleis Vineyards in 2005, and so really kind of getting back to the property and Augusta, and really if that is where we start the story, that would be very appropriate because it was our parents, Bob and Luann, standing on the hillside in 2005, and the story goes that our mom heard the church bells ring, and it was kind of this beautiful moment of them making the decision to put down some roots in Augusta.
And that was the sign, the church bell?
It was, yes.
Wow.
For our mom.
Yeah.
For our dad, he had been an entrepreneur, kind of a serial entrepreneur. His main business was in software. So I think if we always kind of draw this line between having a business that was maybe not as tangible and then kind of in retirement moving to about the most tangible business that you can possibly imagine. And so I think that would kind of be where it began, was them standing on that hillside.
Yeah.
Chris can kind of take it from there because she probably got involved just ahead of me because I was still having my last two children. And so I was actually pregnant, bobbing around on the hillside.
That's what I wanted to learn about, was like the story, because I think
And
I read something on LinkedIn about you like starting from the beginning.
Yes.
over there.
Yeah.
So he originally, when he bought the property, he was just going to grow grapes. He's like, we're just going to go grow grapes. And we're like, okay, because we don't know that much about wine making. We don't know the process. And so he plants the 10 acres, and it takes about 3 years for those grapes to, grow and mature for you to be able to harvest them. And so along about plant them 2005, 2008, he's like, I think I want to make our own wine. And we're like, what? Okay. And so, we, at the time, my kids were older. They were in high school, heading into college. And I had a little bit more extra time. I was working at the time. But when he decided to do that, I'm like, okay, he needs help. And so I quit my job and I came on board, and I drug her with me along about 2009. And that was sort of the start of it. We put up a building and we started.
Same building or a lot different?
It's the winery that,
it is.
that you see right now, where all the tanks are. And we started with 5 tanks and hired a winemaker. And then in 2010, we added onto the front of that winery for the tasting room. And it's what we're still working out of today.
Wow. That's so how old were your guys' parents when that happened? Because everybody was probably like, are you guys crazy? Like, you guys should be retired right now. Why are you trying to do this big project and invest a lot of money?
Correct. Because he had sold his business and he had retired and they were spending probably 5 or 6 months down in Florida and then,
living a great life, relaxing
and they still
life.
are here. And we're like, why do you want to do this? And you know what? He was an entrepreneur and he had passions for a lot of things. He boated in Florida. They took classes on how to boat, and that was just how he was. And so he had a passion for wine. And we had a brother who at the time lived out in Portland, and my dad fell in love with the Willamette Valley out there. And first he's like, I think I'm going to do it out here. And we're like, wait, you live in Missouri, you've got a place in Florida, and you want to have a vineyard in Oregon? And then he did some research. He took some classes online at UC Davis and then found out that all about Augusta. That's in his backyard. And it's the first AVA in the country before Napa and Sonoma. And that just started it for him. And so it was his passion. And now it's ours.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you guys, so Augusta was just from studying, like finding it, and then it's like you guys grew up around that. I mean, like it's close to home too. Augusta is great. Like I grew up over in Lake St. Louis, so like right off Double D in Wing Haven. So
Mhm.
right
Yeah,
there. So
sure.
we would always drive. That would be like where you could drive like down. There was
94.
nothing there.
No.
It used to be. And now
No.
like out there, when I go out to St. Charles, I'm like, wow, gosh, that's crazy.
It is.
So we bought the winery or bought the Just to Grow Grapes in 2005. You guys have started working. Let me talk about some of the challenges of working with family, because you guys all had your own lives and all of your own families, and now you guys brought into this own world. Was it this need to like want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, or what drew you guys to come work there when you could have done a million of other things?
That's a really great question. Well, I think that you kind of answered. I think you saw the need for sure.
Yeah.
And we're the oldest and youngest, in our family. And so we were at a little bit different points in our life. For us, there was an opportunity as sisters to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And because we each grew up with a brother and not necessarily with each other. So there was this really, I don't know that we realized at the time what it would become, but what it has become is that we have had this entire life together now as business partners and working together, and it's been really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't share clothes growing up. Like
Yeah,
we
right.
didn't have all of that opportunity just because of where we were at in our family, in terms of birth order.
Yeah.
But I think that, from my perspective, it was something in the beginning that was flexible because it wasn't what it is now, right? And so it was a little more part-time for me in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I did have really young children at the time, and so it was something that I know personally I could do and contribute on. I mean, it's no longer part-time, but it maybe was in the beginning when I have 4 children, and so 2 of them were yet to be born when they purchased.
So you guys were just in different parts of your life.
Just
You had children going into college, so you were actually getting freed up in time.
I was.
Where you were like, okay, now this is serious. Now
I
got 4
was
kids
finished
at home.
having babies, but they were still young and really,
I like that point that you made of you guys working together, because, I work with my best friend, I work with my wife, and like you realize that, yes, you can go off and work a job that pays you a lot more. And I've had those opportunities before, but like getting to go to work with a small team and have a small business and a family run company, like you take that for granted, and you guys get to win together, you get to lose together. And hopefully you get to disconnect sometimes when you guys are at family parties. I really hope that you guys aren't talking about work, because now you have more family members here. We got one filming us right now.
Right. So to the one filming us. So Chris's daughter, and so I'm right in the middle of them. So they are both my friends, my sister and my niece, and all of my my nieces and my nephew, her 3 children.
Yeah.
And so we have a really interesting dynamic in that way.
Yeah.
But I pride ourselves on the fact that we are able to walk through some very difficult things and always, always, always remain respectful to each other.
Yeah.
Even when we're coming at things from different perspectives, which actually is a good thing because you do need the different perspectives, but of course, when you're giving a different perspective, that can sometimes just really have to be so intentional about receiving something in the way it's meant to be received.
Yeah.
Which is we're always working towards the same goal. And that's where we speak like this to each other, like, okay, like I am saying this because of this, and this is what, okay, I'm receiving it. I mean, that sounds cheesy, but you do want to really make sure that the respect and love of family comes before all of this. Because as any business, we've had some really difficult years. We went through COVID just like everyone else did, and we've had our challenges, but family it just has never gotten in the way. I mean, and if anything, there's more of a trust there. You've got my back. And the other thing I will say is that because I think we were at different points in life, she always respected that my family came first, that my kids came first. And she wanted that because they're her nieces and nephews. So same thing with anything going on in her family. Her family's my family. So there's a lot of support that's just naturally there.
And people just pick up the slack. Like right now, my team's picking me up right now because I just had a newborn. But then like the vice versa. Like, yes, it's hard. You're working with half a person at that point, but but now it comes full circle and stuff like that. So I want to talk about the team that you guys have, because in 2009, this team was probably very small. How involved was your parents? This was their, like, they were there all day, every day. And then how has that shifted to now when I go there, or when we did the photo shoot at City, you guys have 10, 15 faces at 20, and then part-time workers in the summer. You guys probably have just a rotating door of just all these people in the community working for you. So tell us about the team when you started and how that's evolved over the last, since 2019, so 15 years now, or 2009.
So the team when we started in 2009 was really just mom and dad and Angie and I and our winemaker at the time. And that was, I mean, that was just really the 5 of us.
Yeah. Did you have a tasting room at that time?
It didn't open until 2010.
Okay.
And so in 2010, we hired our first 9 employees.
Yeah.
And it has just grown. And it's grown because we've grown. Because when we first opened, we were just a tasting room.
Yeah.
And then we morphed into 2012, 12, we started doing weddings out there. And we kind of got into wholesale on our own because we have our own wholesale license. And then we had the tasting room and winemaking, and and then we started doing private label for people. And so as we kept adding pieces to the puzzle, then you have to keep adding staff to do that. And right now we have, including Angie and I and our mom, there's 12 of us. Full time. So we have like 3 in the winemaking division, and then we have Trisha, who's marketing. John does sales. We've got somebody, Megan does all of our offsite stuff.
Yeah. It's still just a small business, but
it's
the
still
amount of
just
volume that you guys do with 12 people is,
right.
And
then we have we probably have in the neighborhood of about 20 part-time staff, because we're open all year round. We're open 7 days a week. We close for like 3 weeks in January, and that's it. Yeah. So, and we do a lot of other stuff outside of the winery.
So you mentioned these other parts of your business. So like each time you introduce something new, that comes with challenges. But was there an aha moment in your guys' career when it became, just a job, until now it becomes like, this is not, the word empire sounds crazy sometimes, but like you're building this legacy brand now, but like there had to be a moment in building the brand. Like I've had this in my life where it's like, oh no, like we're actually building something really special right now. Can either of you point to a moment? Was it like a new product that you released? Was it like additions to the property? Yeah. Was there a certain moment where you're like, we're actually doing this right now?
Well, I think there were 2 things. There were 2 times for me, at least for me. And the first one was back in 2016. We felt like we needed to build. We needed more space. And we were struggling between building a space that allowed us to have a larger tasting room, indoor space, more of a venue for weddings, or do we build a building that helps from a winemaking perspective? And it really took us about 6 or 9 months to kind of process all of that. And at the end of the day, we decided that if we could only pick one, we needed to go with winemaking, because at the end of the day, that's why we got into this business. And we built the second building, and we've outgrown that.
And
after 6,
that's
the warehouse cellar area. And then I think we both agree that in 2019, primarily Angie started working on this project that has now become our canned product. And I think that was another turning point for us.
That was the biggest pivot. We were doing weddings at the time. We were helping other wineries make wine. Yeah. And that added up to so many labels that we were, individual wines, because it wasn't like we were just making the same wine. And, every client that we would have as a winery, they created their own unique portfolio, and we helped them produce it. And so then, just from a logistics standpoint on the production side, it was like winery Tetris. I mean, trying to make all of this fit, make everything unique. There was just, we were having some challenges, and we really were so passionate about the wine and the products. And then of course Swirl was born, and we realized that weddings really weren't fitting into that. And in order to compete with other wedding venues that were kind of out in the area and popping up that were just wedding venues, that was where they were putting all of their capital was, to create a better experience for,
There's
the
some nice ones
couples.
out there now.
And we have a tent, and,
which at the time was a good spot. And now it's like these other places are popping up. You're like, wow.
And it was just never, it was such a wonderful way. I mean, if you think about it,
it's a good business to be in.
It was, yes.
Kind of.
I mean, for us, maybe not as much. I could see it for some people. For us, just because of all of the other polls that we had, I'm not sure that we found it to be, what it was wonderful was that at the height, let's say we had 34 weddings in a year, and if every wedding had between 150 and 200 people, I mean, what a better way to show, hey, come out, So every guest now has been exposed to what we have there. And so we have no regrets. Weddings were amazing. We got to share in people's most important day. And if you were a couple that decided to have your wedding at Noboleis, you had to be pretty cool because, I mean, it was an outdoor tent. It still is an outdoor tent. And so you kind of had to have that attitude of,
whatever happens.
If it rains, maybe we'll have a beautiful rainbow. I mean, they were very lovely couples. And so we were really lucky in that way to be in that part of the business. But it just wasn't really serving what our purpose was, and what our passion was.
You were getting too far away from what your dad had originally wanted to do, and your parents.
Our parents planted these vineyards and loved that we were in the first AVA and wanted to celebrate that. And so we really... Chris talked about the warehouse. That was very pivotal, and she's right. Then the second pivotal moment was when we said, we kind of looked around and we said, where are we going to grow? The other issue we had was we're teeny tiny, and we really wanted to have what we offered to be pretty estate focused. We wanted those grapes to be from the Augusta AVA or from nearby vineyards, and so we contract with a lot of grape growers that are nearby. That is super important to us. Well, you can only make so much wine from that small of an area.
15 square mile.
And so the opportunity to kind of, and then now we have a winemaker that is just super creative and on board with, we just all work very well together. And he had really started developing and playing around with swirl. We kind of more had the research of, we always wanted to can, and it was something we always talked about, but we really got into how are we going to present it? How are we going to position it, market it, all of that? And so that's been honestly very fun part.
It's so much different than your other brands too.
Yes.
Like it's like different. Complete opposite. It's like funky and groovy and fun. And not like your other brands, not funky and groovy and fun, but it's more of classic and like even the fonts and everything like that. So I want to talk about how the process works when you're developing new flavors. So our friends at Four Hands, they do so many different flavors. So they have this guy there that makes they can make anything taste like great beer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But they're testing it, and it takes time and resources and money and all these different things. And some of it's just for passion and fun. Like, oh, that would be a cool flavor to make something that tastes like Jolly Ranchers, but nobody's going to buy it, So how do you guys push something through? How long did it take from, you said you started working on this in 2019?
So this was almost a separate business plan. Because part of what these decisions that we were making, and at the time, it would have been, our dad and our mom were a part of that conversation, and we were really trying to shift the business, but we kind of had to really have a plan. We couldn't just come to our parents and say, hey, so we think we should stop doing weddings. And they'd be like, oh, okay, well then how are we going to replace that revenue? Which is a fair question. And so we kind of, we really presented it as a business plan. This is going to be a different direction. We're going to actually structure things differently. And so from a business perspective, that's what happened. It was, how are we going to shift things? On the creative, innovative side, our Gabe Miller, our winemaker, has always been just very creative and really trying things. And now we have a production team of 3 guys. We've got Tom and Justin, and they're with them, and they are constantly, we're all kind of trying things. They're like, hey, we've got some thoughts, and then it kind of goes from there. It does take a very long time. I will say that Swirl has had, it's given us some challenges. There's not another product really like it, and fruit puree and wine, and kind of the way that we've had to go about it. We had to have a co-packager for some time where we would make it, but then it was canned somewhere else. that presented a lot of challenges. That is another podcast, but that I think that, you know, now we're bringing it in house. We're going to be canning it. So it really has been. It's a long, I don't know, it's a long process for each one. Each one brings us new challenges, but we love it. I mean, honestly.
New products keep things exciting.
It's so fun.
And your salespeople get excited about it. And your
everybody's
team gets
so
excited
passionate about it. And we're really lucky. I mean, when we say we have, everyone talks about this. I know it's so cliche, but our team is just rock stars.
Yeah, you guys have a good team.
Yeah.
And that starts like from the culture that your parents originally created and you guys created when you make it about wine, and it's bigger than just business. So I want to talk about Swirl a little bit. So you guys said you're canning them in-house now. So you're going to have that cool machine that like goes through and like cans it and puts the lid on and like, and
labels.
And labels it. Wow. So is that going to help you guys just quality control better? Or is it more just from a scalability standpoint? Like you can just have that thing running all day.
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be able to maybe can, you know, in the past, we've been canning like once a year, and it's been these humongous amounts. Yeah. So then it becomes a warehouse space issue.
Yeah.
And now we'll be able to maybe every 3 to 4 months can what we feel like we're going to need.
Yeah.
It won't take up as much space, and then the quality of the product will just be that much better.
And ultimately, you'll get your price down too, to be able to, you know, because like when you're buying from somebody else, it kind of keeps that. So you guys are still doing private labels for some wineries too, then?
We are.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's amazing. So that's the thing is like, you know, when you talked about the wedding venue, it's like you guys are trying to wear all these different hats and do all these different things.
Absolutely.
When at the end of the day, like this is your bread and butter. And now you guys are sold in stores. So let's talk about the wholesale a little bit. So how did that start? Who was selling that? Was that you guys going out and selling it?
Okay, so way back, we did have some help. We had somebody that was on our team, and she would drive around and you know try and get accounts and things, and then we kind of went through a time period where I know I was running kids to carpool, and in the back of my big old truck there was 20 cases, and then you were doing the same thing. So it was very much we were schlepping and helping whoever was maybe, on staff. Then we got John Lane, and he came on, and we said, hey, let's see. He had background in the industry, and he's really run with it. He's the perfect person for it. He's so passionate about what we're doing. And he kind of, we were with a distributor for a short amount of time, but really we were too small at the time. The timing wasn't right. He kind of rebuilt us, and we just now are starting with a new distributor that we are so excited about. It's we feel so strong about the partnership that we're going to have with them. And so John will continue to not have to be the delivery guy now, and he can, really focus on sales. He literally was doing it all. And I mean, we would step in and help if needed, but he really
took that position.
If he could teleport, he would have been fine. But I think that, he couldn't really be in all the places. So, and I would kind of say that like where the distributor came from at this point in time came from our St. Louis City partnership that we started last year. That has, we feel, really elevated Swirl, gotten Swirl in front of a lot more people, brand recognition, things like that. And so now just the timing of everything, it's in Schnucks. It's going to be in more Schnucks, hopefully, if this all, pans out. And
Swirl's everywhere. That was just at the game on Saturday. And it's not just in your guys' booth; it's in every booth. Everyone. I think you're the only one of 2 canned wines there, right? Or canned,
correct?
Yes. So that's amazing, and and like you said, it's just the brand awareness of 20,000 people seeing it every day. But like still being able to connect the story to say that you guys are a local family-owned, now women-run, women-led winery, is a powerful story to tell. So I'm sure that the distributor is really excited about like getting this out there, because like this over wine, when you look at a grocery store, there's like 5,000 wines. It's very hard to stick out. But you look at these, and these do stand out because you can see them. It's just it's a different thing. So the canned cocktails, you guys probably never thought that. What does your mom think of that? The cans?
She just keeps saying things like, whose idea was
What's
this?
that?
I'm like, oh, Mom, it was everyone's idea. It really did take everyone. And, no, she's super excited about it. And our mom is, she's just awesome.
Yeah.
She's so fun.
Yeah.
And she just goes along with it. And she's like, yeah, no, she gets very excited about it.
She does.
And
Yeah.
she
And she
understands
loves-
it. And she really has, we lost our dad in 2021. And so we are, it's that bittersweet. We are now women-owned with our mom. And she has just really stepped into an amazing role of, it's a combination of she trusts us and she trusts us to make the decisions to move the business forward. But she's kind of always also there to keep us level-headed too, and to make sure that we stay grounded and remember what it's all about.
Right.
And so it's really been, having her by our side is really important too. So she's been great.
Well, and she has always kind of been the face. She loves people. People meet her and love her. Her and Dad used to spend every weekend out there just talking to people, and she still tries to go out as much as she can. And that has always been her connection to that place. Maybe she hasn't been involved in the details of day-to-day business, but she is the one that is always out there supporting. She supports us. She supports our staff. And she loves our customers, and they love her. When's Lou coming? I mean, that's what everybody always wants to know. So
That's
she
fun.
just,
And I will say, I feel like we are we love the innovation of the products and bringing it to market. If there is something that I feel like our mom and dad were really good at and that our mom is good at, it is the experience in Augusta. And so there's so many things here, right? Like, come see us at St. Louis City. And we do want to get the product more accessible to people, but really coming to Augusta it's just a beautiful place. We really do. We got that Italian side to us. So, we love the hospitality. And that is our mom. That is really on her heart. And what our team there does, Cecily kind of runs our, she makes sure our tasting room is ready to roll, and it is all smiles when you come in the door. And that is what
there's
that
nothing
is what our
truly
mom
better than a winery day. Like
Right.
going to a winery, doing a
feeling
tasting.
comfortable.
Feeling fun, feeling quiet because there's nothing else around. You don't hear cars going around. It's just like a nice day.
It's like a park.
But the experience, and people think they're like, oh, I just want to get one more account. But it's just like building an experience-based business. And
You can't forget that part.
Kevin Limp, my mentor who owns that, he said they shifted their mindset to just creating spaces. So now they have Chesterfield. Now they have Kirkwood that opens next week, which is this huge 10,000 square foot place in Kirkwood, because people just want to come together and they want to spend time there, and then you can showcase all your products.
Yes.
I think that
the store is only going to showcase the ones that are selling, not the ones that you really love. Or not saying you don't love the ones that aren't selling, but sometimes you're like, I really love that one, but no stores are carrying it.
Well, and we really try, we make a lot of different products. I mean, we're making, I've kind of lost count, but I think we're in the neighborhood of 25 wines, 30 wines, including everything, all the way to ports, super sweet, whatever. And plus the swirls. And Swirl has the sangria line, but we also have a botanical line. But we try to keep things at the winery that aren't in the market, because you want people to come out and have that experience and see what other products can be made. Because one of the probably biggest things that we've probably come across is trying to get people to fall in love with Missouri wine. It's always been sweet. And that's not the case anymore. And in our state and our school systems, particularly Mizzou, have done an amazing job with the viticulture and enology in this area. And we are now able to grow the right grape in this area to produce a really good wine. And you don't have to put sugar in it to make it taste better. And it's not just us. Like, there are hundreds of wineries in Missouri, and we're all doing that. And so trying to bring that message forward to everyone in Missouri for us is really important. And so you want them to come out, you want them to experience Augusta. There were many reasons why we got out of weddings, but one of them was the tasting room was really getting busy, pretty much ever since COVID. And because we were outside, people could spread out. And what we were finding was we were closing at 4:30 every Saturday to get ready for a wedding, and people weren't able to experience what we have and
The
experience
night lights, having lights out on the property.
just all of it, just to be there,
Linger and not feel rushed.
Right,
Which is, we all feel rushed enough as it is.
Right.
And we felt like it was so counter to why everyone
Yeah.
had driven that far, which we
Exactly.
appreciate. I mean, anytime somebody walks through our door, we're like, thank you for
Like,
coming.
yeah.
Like, you know, and
Exactly.
you, I
It's
mean,
a
you-
destination.
It is
know,
a
you
destination.
got a flat tire
Right.
and still made your way
Right,
out there.
right.
But
Mhm.
it, you know, we are just always grateful that somebody comes out, and the feeling that we had of while we loved our weddings and our couples,
Mhm.
we were rushing our customer out the door, and that just never
And not causing it because people were setting up stuff while people were sitting there.
we have
Right.
one we had
Yeah.
the one space, so
Yeah.
you know
Right.
But you guys
so
are doing some upgrades out there, I heard.
we're
trying.
working through that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, Luke, you know, everything needs
Everything's a process.
everything needs an update right now. It kind of goes back to what Chris was talking about in 2016. We want to upgrade our customer experience, but we also need to upgrade our production facility. And you know, it's always a
Always
challenge.
one step at a time.
It
Right.
is. So we are, we're trying to always make the customer experience a little bit better.
And make it harder for the guys working in the back.
Right.
No, I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
everybody, I know everybody's got their wish list.
Yeah, they do.
If you know Tecovas, you know that they make some of the best and most comfortable Western boots around. But what you might not know is that Tecovas has a store right here in St. Louis at Plaza Frontneck. Stop into their store and you'll find the finest handmade cowboy boots, jeans, belts, cowboy hats, and even apparel for both men and women. While you shop, enjoy complimentary drinks, boot shines, custom hat and boot branding, and more. Come visit the Tecovas store at Plaza Frontneck and let them help you find your new favorite pair of boots or your first pair of boots ever. Tecovas, don't go gently. So let's talk about Augusta a little bit. So that area, besides you guys, like who out there are you guys really loving, like what they're doing? Like, is there anybody that's on your list that you guys get inspiration from or anything out there in that area? Or people that have been doing it that maybe you guys ask questions to or anything like that?
In Augusta?
In the Augusta area.
Defiance or anywhere out there. I mean, I know there's a lot of people doing some cool stuff out there.
Yes. Well, I would say in Augusta, the town, Root is a restaurant there who I think in terms of somebody coming into the town and this isn't necessarily on the wine side, but sort of, it's kind of related. Somebody that came in and set up shop as a very, very talented, he could have gone anywhere.
Right.
And he came to Augusta and has really...
They've won like a bunch of awards out there,
Yep.
haven't they? I think I read about them. I definitely read about them, like they won some awards or something.
yes.
He was up for a
He's up
James
for
Beard.
James
Yeah,
Beard
James
Award.
Beard. That's what I wrote because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, that's an
And he's
Augusta?
phenomenal.
Yeah.
What he
Wow,
does.
I haven't been there yet. I gotta go check
Everything
that
he
spot
does
out.
is local.
Yeah.
And he puts out an amazing product in this teeny tiny little kitchen in this teeny tiny little house. And he's amazing. And we've had we've been connected with him since he started.
Yeah.
And that is really cool what he's doing.
That's amazing.
And down the road, I would say Sunflower Hill.
Mhm.
They talking about us getting out of weddings. Well, I mean, you look at their facility and they can put on a beautiful wedding.
Yes.
And just the facility that they have there, and it's just like tucked right back behind. I think it's off Terry Road, and they have a project going on Highway 94 that they painted these silos. Like that kind of almost goes into this whole art. You know, I think there's a big art influence in Augusta.
Yes.
We host the plein air art show every year, and I don't know, Augusta's just interesting in that way where I feel like it attracts very unique people in a lot of different industries. And I mean, as far as the wineries go, there's 5 wineries there, and those 5 wineries have been there for a lot of them for generations. And we've known different owners through the years of those wineries, and they that we've learned a lot from the history of what they have. You have some that have been there since pre-Prohibition, and then you kind of have some newer wineries that have been there that we have learned a tremendous amount and really paved the way to allow us to do what we do today. So, in a lot of ways, we're the new guy on the wine side, but maybe not so much anymore. But
it's just like, well, it's hard to like start a new winery because it's like you guys only being around, but almost 20 years now. So next year since the property was purchased.
You're exactly right.
Hopefully there's something big going on next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's amazing. I love that area out there. I just think that there's like Missouri is one of those cities and states, and me coming from St. Charles, I kind of know both sides of Missouri. But like we just did a partnership in Illinois, so I was over in Belleville, and then we're going to Carlisle, like all these little towns within 35 minutes of St. Louis that I'm going to like drive a sailboat 35 miles away from St. Louis, which I didn't even know about.
That's so cool.
Right.
And people to be able to take these day trips and stuff. Yes. So what would you tell my listeners that are thinking about, this is winery season right now.
Absolutely.
So like, what would you tell them that experience is like? Because we talk about it, but like, what should they experience? What events should they have on their radar coming up this summer? Like, what are some things that my listeners should definitely look out for when they come? Or what would, first, let's start with the experience. What is it like to come there for somebody that hasn't been yet?
Well, I think first, if you are planning, obviously go to our website, and our calendar has a ton of, like kind of everything that from an event side of things that we have coming up, which is, we've got movie nights, we've got a lot of different fun events that kind of go through October, both on-site and off-site. But if we're just talking about coming to Augusta, definitely go to our website and see, what live music is playing. See if there's a special event coming up. Join our wine club. Our wine club has some really fun things. Our wine club manager, Megan, she's planned some really awesome things for the year. So kind of, I would start there and then get your car and probably plan on, depending on where you're coming from in St. Louis, it can be a 30-minute, 35-minute drive. It can be at the very most an hour, 50 minutes, I would say, from most areas of St. Louis. It's just not that far, and it's a beautiful drive. Yeah. And you would get there, and, I like to think of us as pretty rustic, pretty simple, and we do allow outside food, but we also have a really delicious menu. So you can kind of go either way on that. And then you come in, and our staff will take you through a wine flight, which is kind of our way of paring down our enormous portfolio into kind of a smaller bite, and you can do 4 wines on a board that you can carry outside,
and they can check them off.
Wines. That's a great way to do it.
And your staff will like actually help you take, because it's very overwhelming to try to pick from like a list of 30 and all these big words and stuff, and you're like, okay, like what does that mean?
Where
do
I start? Taste like?
We really try and create an experience where we don't want anybody certainly to feel rushed, but you do have to kind of help pare it down pretty quickly, because you don't want to stand at the bar the whole time you're visiting. You want to get outside, because that's where the view is. You want to be out in nature, and really where our hilltop pavilion sits, you've got vineyards on 3 sides. And so you really that's where you want to be. You want to be out there, and we try to make it as comfortable, and it's both family friendly, but then if you're just there with your wife and you just want some quiet time, you can go down by the tree line and have a little picnic. I think that there's an experience for anyone, however you want to come out there. Yeah, but
very well said.
Yeah.
Well, you guys heard that, so you guys got to go show up.
That's right.
And then I forgot what my other question was, but I was talking about, like some of the events. I know you brushed up on some movie nights, which you guys are showing some really cool movies this year. And you guys just did the solar eclipse one, which I heard was
that was fun.
Huge success. Did it look good out there?
It was beautiful.
Yeah. I looked at it in the city, and it was okay. It was okay.
We didn't have totality, but it was a beautiful day. Yeah. And it did get, things change when that sun passes, even if it's only 98%. It's
a good way to spend a Monday.
It was a good day.
It was.
So what does your guys' work day look like? What does it look to work at a vineyard? Because I always watch these movies, and it's so glamorous. I was at a wine dinner at Katie's Pizza downtown the other night, and there was this woman from Italy. She was like so cool. Like she was like, and their vineyard was like, they did like thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, and like I just imagine like castles and stuff on there and like that. But like, what does a day look like working there? Obviously your guys' roles are different, everybody's roles, but like how often are you out there? Like, are you in there tasting? Like what is it, like a normal day, or what does like an ideal day at work look like?
Ideal day.
What is an ideal day?
Angie, ideal day. Because
getting on a podcast.
Yes. Like any small business, and this is just, you wear a lot of hats. Yeah. And I think that when her and I are there, because we do have meetings in St. Louis a lot of the day, so we are not there every day. Yeah. We're kind of here, there, and everywhere. When we are there, we are there. We are presently there because there is a lot that we have to be present for. There's a lot going on. And but an ideal day would be, this sounds kind of funny and you're going to disagree. I kind of like when we have a meeting, like our management team and then anybody listening will be like, what are you talking about? I just like it. I like when we're all around a table. And even though it's a meeting, there's usually some food and we're usually just touching base with everyone. And I do actually, as long as it's a short meeting, I'm very happy about that because I just like getting everybody around the table. We love the people we work with. They're, I just enjoy being with them, honestly. And so I would kind of start that way, do a little touch base. And I mean, obviously the best days are when Gabe says, hey, I've got something for you to try.
Exactly.
Or, guys, I'm sorry, but we have to taste through the barrels because we have to come up with our reserve Norton or, whatever that might be. So there are, of course, those days. We
some
also.
Of those all happen in the same day.
They do.
They do. Team meeting and then everybody gets to try stuff at 9
The other thing that's kind of fun
is
in the tasting room. And actually, we haven't even mentioned this yet, but our brother just moved back from Portland, the brother who kind of inspired this whole thing back in the day. He has been in the food, he's been in the food industry, hospitality industry his whole career. Oh, wow. He's back here. He's helping us, and he's helping with a lot of different things. But one of the things he's helped with is our general manager Cecily. Like they've been really working closely together on the customer experience, on kind of how things are presented in the tasting room and the food and everything.
And he's bringing that experience.
He is. And so what's been happening, and then we also have, Megan who does our events. And so it's almost like, I don't know what's happening this year, but they're bringing in all these new cheese partners and, Will Rose, who, they do Sharpshooter, just all these different local companies that we're working with. But, you have to taste everything before you decide, and then, wait, does it go really well with this wine? And so there's been a lot of those kinds of things, usually centered around food and wine. We just recently had our guac off. So, we all make guacamole and we taste it. Everything I feel like is about experiencing and creating. And so I would say that is not that's an ideal day. That's not usually.
That's a long day. It seems like.
I just put together what was really
your
like
favorite parts
7 days, and I took the favorite
right?
Because because the other day we were magic erasing some white chairs, and the guys were doing a small run of port.
Fires,
I mean, there's always a lot of different things going on that are not as glamorous for sure. But those would be
and there's
the highlights.
our team is in a lot of different directions. So when we're out there. It is a way for us to connect with everybody and make sure that because everybody's got different needs, have different things that come up, just like any other business. Right. And so when we're out there, we're really more tuned into what's going on out there and not so much what her and I have to do, on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And so, it's great to connect with everybody. And it is really great when Gabe says, hey, pull out a glass because I need you to try this new wine. That's the fun stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when we're out there, we're not the ones bottling anymore. We're not the ones loading our car, with cases to deliver, and we're not the ones that are putting the flight board in front of the customer. We used to do that, but now our roles have changed.
Just higher level stuff, and not higher level, but just like working on things that push the business forward so that everybody that works there can grow. And that's the biggest thing is like, and one thing I struggle with and I want to ask you guys with is this like thing of balance is like when you have this, like when the weekend is when you guys are the busiest, but also when you probably want to spend time with your kids when they're in town or whatever. So how do you balance, being at home? Is there a secret of how do you disconnect? Because now with our phones and our emails, every time an email comes in that's an issue, I see it right away instead of just seeing it like when you log into your computer. Like it's just a different thing. You can't really get away from stuff as much.
And I'm pretty comfortable with that. It's a 7. It's always there, and you're always checking sales. You're always checking things, and we pop in on different things. Last weekend was a very busy weekend. So I was at Lawmeyer. I was on the Hill actually. I mean,
the wine walk on the Hill, and
then
Lawmeyer Mother's Day.
Right,
Those are two great events.
And then, but then our whole team is everywhere. So, I would say it just takes all of us. Our mom is in the mix too, and she really has a presence on the weekend at the winery, as much as she can. And so, and like I said, our brother is now there, which has been amazing. And so,
how'd you convince him to move back? Was that his choice?
Well, he should probably speak for. I think it just kind of progressed. I think that it was for him. It seems like it was a really obvious fit. Just given his background.
Yeah.
I think he was looking to get involved.
Yes. And I think maybe him and his wife were looking for maybe a change a little bit. And so we are thrilled to have both of them here. And have somebody, it's been my mom and dad and Angie and I, and then, my daughter Trisha. But to have somebody else in the family step up and go, hey, I see what's going on, and I would love to help. And to be able to tap into what his expertise is for us has been huge, because one of the things, getting back to Angie and I, we didn't grow up together because there's that age difference, but we bring different things to the table. And that is what has made this thing work. She's an incredibly creative person when it comes to the marketing, and she loves being out there and getting herself out there, and that I'm more the quiet, like I'm the accounting person, and then her and Trisha are always dragging me into things, but it's what's made it. Yeah. Well, but it's what,
but you're good
at this. You make this so easy.
Too, though.
But I think that, I think it goes to, it's what's made this work is that we each bring something different to the table to make this thing keep churning and keep moving, and having Pat come in and bring a completely different expertise to this has actually been really fun for us.
And that's the brother I grew up with, so it's just been really fun for me. I joked that I used to eat my lunch at my desk, and now I just on purpose bring something that needs warming up in the kitchen. And I'm like, hey there, brother. Because he used to make me food all the time when I was growing up, because he was kind of always a chef. So no, it's good.
Yeah. Well, and back to your question about how do you turn it off? You know what? It's hard to turn it off. And at the end of the day, we probably don't turn it off.
No.
And
That's okay,
it is okay, and you just have to learn how to navigate that. And I think we've navigated it pretty well up to this point. And
I think you're excited about something else.
Yes.
I will say, this has been fun and exciting, and I mean, we're enjoying it. So I don't know that I personally feel the need to totally turn it off, because it's a good challenge. I welcome the challenge. I enjoy it. It's
you
good.
probably have that with
Yeah,
what you guys do.
We both
That's
do.
the key.
My wife is a teacher. She loves her job. I love my job. We actually are really positive when we get home. Like, where our friends are not like that. They are like, I hate my job. You know? So we're blessed in that.
You are.
But yeah, it's nice. But it also is like being on your phone. I'm like, I'm like looking.
You do.
Because I'm never complete. I'm never complete. No matter what we do in our job in social media and digital, we're never done.
You're never done.
You're
never done. You can plan out the whole month, and then you try to plan the next.
Trisha step in here.
Like, you're never done.
Yes.
Right.
And you have to continue to be creative, and we get creative block, and we get like, oh my gosh, I can't even think of another video or song to use for this video or whatever it might be. And it drains you and stuff like that. But I think that I'm most passionate about people and like building the people that we have. We have a team of like young people that are 22, and Angie's daughter is going to come work for us. Like, young people want to work for our business. And I think that's a good feeling. It's like we have hundreds of people that want to work for us. So like, we're actually, now I have to provide opportunities for these people. So that means working with more people, selling more ads, selling more sponsorships, anything that we can do to provide more opportunities for people. Because now my biggest goal this year in having a baby was, okay, how do I become less important? And now Kyle, my partner, has stepped up, and like, I'm not I'm probably the least important. Like, if somebody asked me a question, I'm like, you should probably ask her.
That's not true.
No, but like, seriously, like things are getting done, and I can now see it. We have everything on here. I'm like, oh, like we just like did all those sales yesterday and didn't even talk to any of those people. So that's like,
isn't that a great feeling?
That's the best feeling.
Yes.
You've empowered other people.
Right.
Well, and can I piggyback on something that you just said that made me think of a conversation that actually you, Kyle, Trisha, and I had during one of our meetings, and we were talking about St. Louis, and I think the way I phrased it was, I put us all in the same age group, and then I quickly realized that I was not the same age as you. But That was
Did
funny.
I say something mean?
No, you should have though. Because
whoa.
whoa
Chill.
there, middle-aged lady. No, but I get so excited that
Yeah.
I'm like, oh hey, we're doing this together.
Yeah.
But I think that part of what drives us is the connection to where we grew up. We grew up in St. Louis, and we're seeing so many exciting things in St. Louis, and we're fortunate to be aligned with St. Louis City. And so we've seen what they have done for the community, and now we're able to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I know it's just wine and just a can sangria, but it is something that is being created in a really important historical area right outside of St. Louis. And we want to be like, caw, come out, come out. It's really cool. We want to tell everybody about it. And I think that you have a new baby. I know I have children that are becoming young adults. Chris's children live here. We care about the city. We want the city to be rich and be proud, rich in culture, and it is. And the neighborhoods that are here, and
you want your kids to want to be able to build a life here and stay here. And stuff
and if we're like this itty bitty fractional tiny part of that, I'm fine checking email all the time.
Right.
It just isn't. It's not a hardship by any stretch, and it's actually, in a lot of ways, we just feel so fortunate to be a part of it. And that's cheesy, but it's true.
And that's why we love what you guys do.
Thank you.
Because you guys have a passion for the same area that we're in.
You shine a light on it.
And you do shine a light on it. And that is a huge deal because I don't think people realize what we have here in St. Louis in so many areas. Culture, all of our museums, our zoo, everything, all of our sports teams. But then, you can, you talk about food, you can talk about drinks, there's just so much here and so much has happened here in the last 8 to 10 years. It's been really fun to watch. So what you guys are doing to bring that to the forefront, it's important.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's very nice. So I have 2 more questions for you guys. So you had mentioned your dad passing in 2021. What is it? Is there a certain feeling that you get, carrying out his legacy? Like, is there a privilege or like, is there a motivation that comes from that? Because I'm sure that, he, is watching you guys and he's like, okay, like how far can I push this so that I can make my dad proud? And then obviously your mom's still here with us, but she, like you said, like, I'm sure that she's just like, man, you guys are just running with this. So like, is there a certain feeling that you get from like building onto that legacy? And then now you have now your kids are working here and that it's just like it's a legacy business.
It is. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's why they put it into place. I mean, Dad was an entrepreneur. Yeah. But at the end of the day for Mom, it was about family. It has always been about family for her. Family. And so for her to watch what's going on and to see, and she's always been worried about Angie and I. She's like, please don't let this come between you like this, and we're like, it would never do that. Point. We are sisters first and business partners second. And it doesn't mean it's always perfect, but that's just the way it is. And family is very important. And so I think for Angie and I, we got into it and it was his passion. And I think it's become our passion.
100%.
And yes, we're doing it for him. Like, we want to make him proud of what we're all doing and what the next generation might do with it. But I think it's really become, and her and I have had this conversation, I think it's really become our passion also. And for different reasons and in different ways. So, it's
amazing.
Yeah. He was
amazing.
Yeah.
We talk to him a lot when we're driving out to the winery now. Like, Dad, okay, can you help us with this one?
What do you think?
Of course. That's we didn't even talk about the name of your guys' winery.
Noboleis.
Noboleis.
And like what that means, and that's a combination. And so tell that story real quick.
So our maiden name is Nolan.
Okay.
Obviously our parents are Bob and Luann Nolan.
Yeah.
And Chris's married name is Newbold. And my married name is Geis. So Noboleis.
Okay.
Mom put them all together.
That's a Luann Nolan original right there. That is our mom. Like, we just gotta put all of our family names together. And so she kind of came up with that. Now it's always mispronounced Noboleis. But it is Noboleis.
It's a hard one.
Yeah, it's Geis.
It is.
Geis.
It's that German that I married.
It's ice. Yeah.
My husband is
Noboleis.
German descent. It is Geis.
So first of all, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks
To
for having
wrap
us.
things up, we got to talk about the STL bucket list.
Of
Okay,
course.
so these are our
Yes.
favorite places. My favorite things to do. Things like so originally we started the page. Marissa and I were on a trip to Chicago, and she planned the whole trip. This was in 2019. She planned the whole trip from Instagram. So then when we got back to St. Louis, I'm like, why? Like nobody has an Instagram that can help me do this, because we had just moved from St. Charles to Southampton, and we were like right in the hill area. And I'm like, there's no Instagram page that shows me all these places that I want to go. But like she just planned the whole trip from Chicago on this Instagram page. And I was like, okay, there's something there. And this was 5 years ago, before like Instagram was like, everybody's on Instagram all the time now. So then we just made the page and we did it anonymously, and we would just post the places we went to. So we would go to our neighborhood. We had Russell's on Macklin down the street. We would walk there and go to brunch.
Favorite.
And then
right there.
Clementine's open next door. So then we would
Yes.
get ice cream from Clementine's.
Right.
And then we would go to the Hill, obviously, and go to all those places. And now like all these new restaurants are coming up. So we just go to new places, but we didn't tell anybody about it. We were actually embarrassed. So we had 10,000 followers and nobody knew who we were. We didn't show our faces. We just showed our hands. So
That's
it was like
awesome.
this very anonymous thing. And then we just like said that it was us. And then people started inviting us to all these places. So like we've been eating at all these places in St. Louis, a lot of times for free, because they want us to come out, which has been a blessing, because we've got to
Yeah,
try
that's
almost
so fun.
every restaurant.
Yeah.
That's
Now
great.
it's like a grind to do it all, because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I gotta get a babysitter, I gotta get I can't drink because they're gonna have to pump and dump from here, and then,
My, how life changes.
yeah, so now it's
Right.
way different, because we used to get, like, they'd be like, come stay at our hotel, make a video. I'm like, all right,
Okay.
we'll come
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
And now it's like,
Now it's like,
now we're
no.
sending like, whoever, one of our
Everybody-
internships
yeah.
there, like, hey, you want to
Yeah.
go stay at this hotel and make a video? They're like, yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
So
that.
that's the long story short of STL Bucket List. And then we've added more services and started our agency and
Yes.
really just tried to help small businesses, only in St. Louis locally. But really the bucket list isn't things we want to check off. It's just things that if people are coming in town, the best way to say it is, I have a day off, it's Saturday, these are the things that I'm going to do. So
Right.
we'll start with you, Chris. What's
Okay.
on your bucket list? What are some places, some restaurants, some places that you want to shout out?
So one of my okay, so it's hard to pick, right?
It is very
Okay.
hard. And
So,
yes.
but one of my favorite places is AO and Co Market
Yeah, me too.
in Tower Grove, and they have the best coffee,
Mhm.
and they have really good.
Underrated. Nobody knows them
no,
for
I
coffee,
know.
because nobody
Coffee.
goes in the back. They always
No,
go through the
they-
front,
right.
and then you don't know.
And
Ube
they
latte.
have amazing breakfast sandwiches, and they also have a great case of fresh food that they make
Mhm.
that you can grab.
Mhm.
Go on a picnic or do it.
Egg
beet
salad.
Some of
hummus.
it's from
The egg
Olio.
salad
Yeah,
or
right.
the
right.
hummus.
Any of
Mhm.
that, right? The beauty of one of the things we love about AO and Co is that they carry swirl,
Mhm.
and so you can grab some swirl while you're there.
Yeah.
You can go around the corner and get some
Union
bread at
Loafers.
Union Loafers.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that whenever we have a holiday get together at our house, my son, who's grown and lives in St. Louis, he's always like, I'm like, okay, who's gonna bring what? And he's always like, I'll bring the rolls, and he gets them from Union Loafers.
Mhm. You got to order them like right when they
You
drop
do.
them,
Oh,
'cause
he
you
does.
can't pick those
He's
up
He
on
same
has
day.
to order
You
like
can't pick
2
them up
weeks
same
ahead
day.
of
Is Michael
yeah.
bringing the rolls?
Yeah, right.
Union Loafers is a gym.
It
They're so
is.
good.
And you're right there by the gardens.
Yeah.
And all that brings to the
So you're a
area.
Tower Grove bucket list person.
I
You
kind of
like that
am. I
area.
love that area.
Yeah.
And it's
and
not-
Megan lives,
and so my oldest daughter is married, and they live in the Benton Park area,
Mhm.
and so
Mhm.
all the kids kind of hang out, and my generation of what my kids are, the early 30s, the city for them is huge.
Mhm.
When we were growing up, that wasn't the case, and so to watch them fall in love with
Yeah.
all of these restaurants and all of the breweries and all of like everything that makes up the city
Mhm.
is really cool.
Yeah.
So it's fun to get out. We
Yeah.
live in the suburbs,
Mhm.
and so that area for me is
That's cool.
It's
Those are
fun.
some good spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get the AO and Co. You get a coffee. You
Yes.
sit there. Then you get a couple swirls. Put it in an ice thing with your
Right.
hummus.
That
With
would
You
your
could
pita
grab some
bread.
flowers.
Grab your flowers from Rudy's
Which
Truck
are-
if you're
right,
there on a
yeah.
Saturday.
Right,
Then you
right.
have to get the trout salad sandwich,
Yes.
which is the best sandwich in the
right
world.
in the world.
But they only
Yeah.
sell it on Saturdays at
Right.
Union Loafers.
Yeah.
And then you take all that to Tower Grove or the Botanical Gardens. I don't know if
Right,
you can
right.
take food in the Botanical.
can't, you can't,
take it to Tower
but,
Grove, but
Go
go sit
true.
at Tower Grove and
Yeah.
lay there and
Mhm.
look up at the,
You know?
know.
And then you're not far from the hill at that
Mhm.
point either.
Yeah. Well, that's where you go to dinner,
And,
'cause you
right,
take a
and that's
nap
a
in the
whole nother
park,
thing, right?
And
Take a nap
then
in
you
the
got to go
park.
to Gito's to get their
And
espresso
hopefully-
martini to
right,
wake you up a little
exactly.
bit.
Well, and
Yeah.
hopefully there's a city game that night.
Right, go to City.
Well, yeah, go
Finish
to
at
City
City.
Game.
Go to City
and then
Game,
eat there.
yeah.
Dude, I spent I don't even like want to like look at my credit card statement about how much money I spent at City and Saturday. I went to like 6 different places. I got Union Loafers pretzel, but then I also got Balkan Treat Box, and I got Olive and Oaks Burger, and then I got all this food, and I'm like, it's like I spent a lot of money. On food.
I know it's expensive,
and beer,
right? But that's what's awesome about
Thank you.
Yes, and that's what's awesome about what City has done.
Yeah, they
what
good
they
job.
have. I mean,
for us that's not huge soccer fans, like my wife, like not a huge like she's like, oh, like go to a game, but like to go to a game, but like we experienced all amazing. That. The energy was amazing, but then also we get to like go to some of the places that we haven't been to in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. And there's not many stadiums that have done that. Actually, I think Busch Stadium tried to.
They're doing.
Yeah.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
they
doing
are
more
a little
local
bit.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's more of that.
That's a bucket list day for me.
Yeah.
There you go. What about you?
So I'll have to go to being kind of from growing up in the Chesterfield area. I've got to say Smokehouse, just because Tom and Jane Sainer are like.
Is that the Annie Gunn's?
Yes. Yeah. So it would be right next to Annie Gunn's, and they're a little bit like family to us. I have memories before Chesterfield Valley was even built. Of our mom would go there, and it was they do this amazing beef jerky, and it used to be in baggies. Now it's in a really beautiful
package.
package.
They've upgraded too.
They do.
I
mean, it's still all made right there. But I mean, I have these memories.
Time,
they have. I mean, I remember as a kid, and I think my
just went through
brother
a big
Pat
remodel, too.
would go, and they'd sneak him some free jerky. And, just I mean, this goes way back.
Annie Gunn's is like one of the top restaurants. Like that place is on everybody's bucket list.
It
Annie
is.
Gunn's is like that place is just amazing.
Glenn has, at Annie Gunn's, he's been so good to us, and Tom and Jane have always just been so amazing to us. And she mentioned AO and Co, and I would put Smokehouse in that, and then I'm going to jump over to Webster Groves after this, because those Civil Alchemy, those 3 places were our launch pads for Swirl.
Really?
Yeah.
They were the first
Civil
ones.
Alchemy was?
Civil Alchemy, Smokehouse, and AO and Co were the first 3 to pick it up.
That's cool.
And they, and that was sitting at a picnic table with, at Smokehouse with Jane Sainer and Glenn, and being like, hey, we've got this thing in a can. And they're like, we'll carry it. I'm like, really? That's amazing. And so then go to Civil Alchemy. What that whole area, and you're talking about Balkan and, everything in Webster Groves. I mean, when my daughter comes back in town from college, she's like, okay, when are we going to Balkan Treat Box?
And I'm so impatient. The lines are so long.
Oh, it's just so good. And
like
shopping at
door.
Civil Alchemy and get a coffee at the Annex. I mean,
the rooftop
I
patio
kind of
at
feel
the
like you
Annex,
can
or not the
replicate
Annex,
Frisco's
rooftop patio.
Yes.
Nobody talks about that spot. That's a good bucket list spot.
Yeah, well, and even the Annex,
Have
the
you been to
patio
Telva
behind.
Yet by Balkan?
No.
That's their new coffee shop down.
Okay.
It's at Rolling Ridge Nursery
I did
in Webster.
see it on
That place has a line, like literally 3 blocks to get in there, because that's how
Really?
good this bakery is. They have like the best fresh Bosnian coffee with like their
Nice.
those people just crush it. I mean, they're just like a machine.
That's awesome.
You know,
Webster Groves has done a really nice job, and we love Olive and Oak also.
Is that your town?
I mean, I don't live there, but I would if I could. But I mean, no, I love where I live too. But maybe I'll just tell my children to live there as adults. But
So I have affinity for Webster. We talk about St. Louis and where'd you go to high school. I went to Narek. So for me, I went there a really long time ago. But hanging out in Old Orchard in Webster for me is a huge memory.
True.
So the fact that
What about a date night spot? Did we talk about a date night spot?
Date nights.
Going on many date nights lately?
Well, we did go to Bill and I went to Root in Augusta,
but we took cocktail in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland cocktail.
Cleveland cocktail.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
It is.
It's a beautiful building.
Is a surprisingly just you're in West County, and then you kind of hop in there and you're like, oh, this is
the ambiance in that place is so cool.
Yes.
Like what they did. And great cocktails and some amazing steaks.
Yeah.
I would just say.
big.
I gotta go to
big
Root.
steak.
I need to put that on my
You
thing.
do need to go to Root.
Yeah.
You guys need to connect me with him. I'd
I
love to do a
will.
little, because that would be a cool video out
Actually,
there on him. That'd be a good one.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
and then we can go
Yeah.
try some. But cool. Well, I will
Yeah.
see you guys sometimes this summer. I know Marissa
Okay.
gets out of school on the 29th, so
Nice.
we'll plan a day to come out there.
We would
I know
love
we're
that.
going to come out there
Love to
one
have
day
you.
at the end of this month too
Yes.
to do some photos and videos.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
super excited about that. Thank you guys for taking so much time. I know we went a little bit over, so
No, this was a lot
I
of fun.
appreciate
Always
it.
fun talking to you.
And then if you guys just want to drop your website just so people can find out more
Yeah.
about you or how they can connect with you guys on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, so just head to our website. It's noboleisvineyards.com, and Noboleis is Noboleis.
Mhm.
Vineyards
Good.
plural
Yeah.
.com. You kind of can find everything there, and it even links you to the Swirl website.
Mhm.
There's a where can I buy Swirl, where can I buy wines
Mhm.
out in the market on there as well. And then Noboleis Winery on Instagram.
Mhm.
We're on Facebook, and
Yeah.
just come
Drink
check
Swirl.
us out. Drink Swirl, yes.
Mhm.
.com.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
And our guest, everybody that comes on the show has been getting Swirl. So
Yay.
Yay,
people have
that's-
been really stoked about it. We
that's
drank one with
awesome.
somebody recently.
Oh, good.
It was it was lukewarm because it was just sitting there, but it was still good.
It's good
Yeah.
Still
over
good.
ice,
Yeah,
yes.
still
It
good.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Awesome. Thanks
we
for
will
all the
see you
support,
guys.
Luke.
Absolutely, guys.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week. So
All right.
thank you,
That
St.
sounds
Louis.
good.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Today they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.